Hello, Algebra 1A students for Miss Buchanan. This was done in class today, which is the 18th, Thursday. And if you missed any of this, hopefully this is going to be helping you. So what she had read up here for this little equation, instead of y, we're going to start using this f of x. It's called functional notation. That's the functional notation, that's why it's here. So basically you just got to remember that these are interchangeable. So the function of x is y, so whatever you put in for x, you're going to get y. You're going to get the y value. And you could think of it as the function of x. So that's all this is pretty much saying. Real easy. This is read as f of x. So f of x is the output and y is the input, just like y has always been the output and x is the input. So you put a number in x and you get a new y. So we're just going to do that. So the input is we're going to put this in, -7 in for x, to figure out what the f of x or y would be, 29. So let's get started. That example one, I just plugged in the -7 where the x was. And I like to put it in parentheses because then, in my calculator, if I'm working it out, I put it in parentheses and I know where to put that in. I put it inside the parentheses. So it becomes -28 minus 9, so you have -29. -28 minus 1 equals -29 is what I meant to say. For number one, evaluate each function for the given value. So the input is going to be if f of x is this, if f of 5, if the x is 5, the input is 5, so put in 5 for x is what it's saying. That's what all this meant up here, this input stuff here. So it's telling you to put in 5 for x, so 5 plus 7, well, it equals 12. This. Sometimes they use different letters to just signify different problems. That's all they're doing if you have a bunch of problems so you know which one you're looking at. So you could have any letter out here, okay? H of x. So what if x is going to be 9? So you just substitute 9 in there. 2/3 of 9 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. You could do this by doing 9 times 2 divided by 3 in parentheses, and you'll get 6. Or you could use the ABC button, 2ABC, 3 times 9, and you'll get 6. For number 5, I just plug in 5 in for my x values. And once again, if you want to think about x in parentheses, then just plug in the 5 that's in parentheses over here, in these parentheses, and then work the problem out. Just do your order of operations, that's all. -5, I'm going to put in here. -5 times -5, or -5 squared is 25. 4 times the -5 is -20, and that's how that ends up that way. Number 9. So instead of just in one number for x, I have a c plus 7. So I have c plus 7, I'm going to plug in for x. And then I just go about my business doing my problem. So I do the order of operations, distributive property actually. So I'm going to take this 4 times c is 4c. 4 times 7, a positive 7 is plus 28, and I still have this plus 11. The only thing that I can put together here is the 28 and 11. That equals 39. This 4c, I just bring it on down. That's as far as I can go because I do not know what c equals. It just ends up being a problem like that. Use functional notation to the left, the functions to the left. So the function is 8 minus 3. So if we have that function for f of x, my input is 4, so I put in 4 for this, and I'm going to add all of that to 9. I'm also going to take all of this, I'm going to add 9 to it, is basically what it's saying. And then, so you do that, and you end up getting 5. G is 4 for the first one, and I'm going to add that if that same equation if g equaled -1. and you end up getting 23. And then 15, if the whole thing, if f of x equals 13, so that y, in other words, the output is negative 13, what would be the input is what they're saying. So remember, this means output. It's a good way to think of it. And this is the input. What would the input be? What would the input be? So output's this, what would the input be? You know, I've taken it up here. So I just solve for x. I subtract 8 from both sides. I divide both sides by negative 3, and I get 7. Negative 21 divided by negative 3 is 7. All right, anthropologists, people who study remnants of people to figure out different things. Anthropologists use the length of certain bones of the human skeleton to estimate the height of the living person. One of these bones is the femur, that's in your thigh bone. To estimate the height in centimeters of a female with a femur length of x, the function h of x equals 61.41 plus 2.32 times x can be used. Find h of x when h is 46, when x is 46, I mean. So 46, you're just going to plug in a 46 here and explain its meaning. So 46 is going to be the femur measurement. You plug this into the equation, and then you get, when you take 61.41 plus 2.32 times 46, you get 168.13, and that gives you the female's height, estimated height, I should say, is 168.13 centimeters, given her femur length in that equation, that formula, that function, I should say. Try 18 on your own. And 19, me explaining 19 might help. You're given the graph of f of x, find each function value. So when x is negative 4, in other words, what would y be? So when I go to negative 4, my y, this is going to be, or my f of x, is going to be 2. So, in other words, when you plug in the x, the input is negative 4. What's the output? What's my f of x? That's going to be 2. B, when it's 0, x is 0, my f of x is 0 also. When my x is 2, my input is 2, I go here, my f of x is negative 2. This is negative 2 on the f of x or the y. And my when my x is 5, out here, have a dot there, my f of x or my y is going to be negative 1. Okay, hopefully this helps with what you guys did in class. Now, for homework, this homework is due on 2/19. So that would be tomorrow. Okay, so that's Friday. All you're doing is plugging in, and I'm not going to explain each one because I did that enough in the in-class stuff. So plugging in a 2 here, so 4 times 2 is 8. All you do is just plug these numbers in for x. So negative 1, plug it in for x. Solve the problem, you should get 3. Plug in negative 5 for x. I plugged it in, solve it, I get 130, negative 130. I plug in a negative 7. You can see my steps. And hopefully you're pausing this and go ahead and try the even ones. If you make a mistake, learn from it. That's how you learn. That's how we make progress. 7, if I plug in a 7 for x, I get 26. If I plug in negative 5 for x, I get negative 15. If I plug in a 4 for n, I get 4. If I plug in a 10 for t, I get 97. If I plug in a negative 3 for a, I get 4. And for number 19, h of x equals all this, right? So the x is equal to 3, I just put in 3 in there. This becomes negative 3 minus 1. So negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. Hopefully all this helped, and you're getting these function notations down. They're real easy once you get the hang of it. And good luck.